Testing, testing, 1, 2. How y'all doing today? Welcome back to the T God Talks podcast, where over here we have good vibes only. And if you don't got good vibes, you don't got to go. You can actually stay because we can try to fix them. That's going to be the new intro. And if you guys like that, let me know in the comments below. As you guys can see, real quick, a quick plug before the beginning of the episode is that I am wearing a T God hoodie. This is one of my older ones, and I don't know if you guys could see when I was kind of walking in. Yeah, it's not gonna have the picture, the giant picture of myself. This is kind of like the founder hoodie. I had made this years ago, and now I'm like trying to relaunch another like 2.0 T God merch, and this time it's going to be like really good. It's not going to be my picture on the back. It's going to have like T God, of course, in the front, different colors if you guys want different colors, and it's going to have like maybe my handles and stuff like on the back. And I don't really know. It might have like some designs and stuff. I'm still like in the process of doing all that. So if you guys are excited for that, let me know in the comments below. And if you guys would want to wear something like this, maybe around the house, I know it has my name on it or whatever, but I kind of thought it was cool. Maybe it might be something else. Yeah, that's kind of like all. I'm going to leave it there. It's obviously going to be more than just T God. So yeah, just stay tuned for the merch. I'm really excited for that. And it's going to take a little bit of time, but we're going to get it. We're going to get it going. But as you could tell, we are kind of in like a different setting. I wouldn't say different setting. Yeah, I guess we were kind of here last episode, but there's more stuff in the background. You guys can see my board here. It's got my name on it and stuff. We kind of got these little things right here. Just, make it a little nice little setting and stuff. And I also wanted to apologize for this giant ass monitor that is sitting on my desk right there in the corner. My bad. Yeah, I just kind of trying to figure out the placement of the camera and stuff. This is kind of where I'm going to film my solo episodes. So maybe that will change, or, when I get more monitors and stuff like that, maybe we won't film here. Who knows? I still have the couch out there in the living room and, that little setup out there. But that's kind of primarily if people come over to be in the episode and stuff, we'll be filming out there because obviously we're not going to film in this little space with a bunch of people. That'd be kind of crazy. But yeah, today's episode. Oh my goodness. Today's episode, I don't know if you guys could tell, but my energy really isn't fully like it normally is when we're on on these episodes. It's because I've really come to the realization of what's happening in life. And I know you guys are kind of like, what do you mean? Like, trust me, we're going to break down a bunch of things. I'm going to try to do it in sections so we're not like repeating ourselves or whatever. But I guess let's hop right into today's episode. Actually, real quick, I gotta plug myself one more time. I just finished my album. If you guys like music or whatever, and if you want to support your boy, if you guys go over to my Instagram, I'll have a link at the top of my description in the Instagram bio, and it'll take you to the album. Not yet though, it's not out yet, but it will be hopefully in the beginning of December. I know December's basically here already, but it's going to be before my birthday, and my birthday is December 20th, so it's definitely going to be very soon, and I'll keep you guys updated with that. But if you want more on like my music and my everyday life, please go follow my Instagram. I'm actually trying to like build my Instagram up and stuff like that, so it would really help me out if you guys go over there. I post a lot of like content over there where I'm doing like either funny videos or I'm doing like, gym stuff or music things, but basically like everything is basically on my Instagram. I'm going to try to be more active on YouTube and things like that as well. But yeah, if you guys want to do that, the link is going to be at the top of the description in this video. So if you guys want to go check that out, that would help me out so very much, please. And thank you. But anyway, if you're new here, my name is Trey. I go by T God. How I got that nickname, long story short, in high school, my nickname was T Rod. I skateboard. I've been skateboarding for 22 years now. And if you guys know the professional skateboarder P Rod, yeah. So since my name is Trey, they kind of were like, "Oh, dude, you're like P Rod. Hold on, T Rod, right?" And then obviously that carried through high school. And then when I got out of high school, shout out to my boy Wonder Boy, aka RJ. We would flip water bottles and stuff, and we used to be into this like anime Dragon Ball Z, and they came out with a side thing. It was like Dragon Ball Super, and they all became gods and things like that. So we were making jokes that we're gods at water bottle flipping and stuff. And then obviously I was continuing to do music, and I went by T Rod, and I was like, man, like I kind of want another name. And since we had been bottle flipping and stuff, Wonder Boy was like, dude, maybe we should go like T God. And like it was kind of a joke at first, and I was like, man, T God, yeah, Yeah. And then all of a sudden it just like stuck and it was like perfect. And it's been like that for years now. And I like going on 10 years almost. And it's just crazy to even say that. Like, actually, it's been over 10 years, but still, it's just kind of crazy to even think that like that's how the name came through. It was awesome. So, quick little background of me and stuff. If you guys want to know more about like, what happened and like how I came up and things like that, and like all this other stuff or whatever, go over to the first few episodes and stuff. Yeah, so I guess now let's hop into today's episode. First and foremost, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in today. If you guys enjoy this type of stuff, like please leave me a like and stuff. That'd be awesome. Okay, enough plugging. Let's hop right into today's episode. Hopefully the sound is good. Let me know as well. So, yeah, today we're kind of using a mic because the last episode we didn't use the mic. If you guys, I do want to say this though, real quick. I know I keep going off, but if you guys want me to use the mic, let me know. And if you guys don't want me to use the mic, let me know as well. Whatever works better for you. I know you guys are just here for the video, so let me hop into it. I feel like that was like 2 or 3 minutes of just saying a bunch of bullshit. But anyway, so let's hop into today's episode, finally. So, okay, the very first thing that I would like to talk about is what I'm starting to realize, right? What I'm starting to truly understand is myself. I'm constantly by myself 24/7, and I'm not sad about it. I used to be sad about it. I used to be really like depressed about being by myself, and I would always just lay down and just think about, oh, I wish I had a significant other that was there and I wish I could talk to them and cuddle with them and just be, clingy with my girl and like just be vibing and stuff. Cause truly I want that. But now I kind of understand like why I don't have that right now. And that's not because of me. It's just because, maybe the time isn't right to have a relationship right now. And this is where I'm kind of having like lately I've been having a spiritual awakening. Okay. I've been really starting to, understand myself more. And I've never been able to understand my feelings. I never truly got what like was wrong with me. And I know you guys are probably like, what do you mean? So pretty much growing up, okay, this is gonna be the first thing I'm gonna talk about. Growing up, I lived in a decent home, but the times were really rough, okay? And this is kind of like the origins of really where I came up. I guess I said go check the first episodes or whatever, but honestly, I'll just kind of give you a brief thing now. Growing up, it was really difficult. And, I'm very grateful for the times that I went through even if they were rough or if they were good. I'm actually very, very thankful for that. And, the reason why I'm thankful for that is because it kind of shaped me into the person that I am today. And it really made me realize, certain situations that normally I would blow up on. Now I kind of understand, like, it's not that deep. And, so like I said, growing up was like really rough. There was a lot of fighting, there was a lot of cussing, physical fights, verbal, so many different things, right? The list goes on. But, I'm not that hurt child anymore. Now, if you guys are kind of similarly going through something like maybe in your mind, you're kind of, affected about like your past. And if your past isn't really that far, if like you're a little younger or whatever, you're just turning 18 maybe or whatever. And you're just kind of like, oh yeah. Or even now, if you're living through the times, right? I guess basically to attack both of those things really is just vast in a moment, y'all. Vast in a moment, like whatever you're going through, just don't think about it too much. And I know that's a little easier said than done, but I promise you the times that you're going through right now, it's not going to matter in 10 years. And the reason why I say that is because throughout those 10 years, you're going to have more experiences. You're going to learn new things. You're going to see new people. You're going to, experience new stuff. But basically what I said already, like really like, it's not going to matter because of all the new things that are happening and in that moment, right? Now, if you want your situation to go away, then you got to tell yourself mentally and like physically tell yourself like I'm going to be okay. I'm going to get through this. God made me for a reason, right? God made us not to quit, right? Now, you don't have to be religious and things like that, but God is real. I'm gonna be honest, when I was younger, I kind of had my doubts with God. When I was younger. And I know that doesn't mean that I was like atheist and things like that, but I just really kind of had my doubts. I was like, oh, whatever. Like, people always talking about this and preaching about that, whatever. But it like, know because I really didn't understand. It's because I was young, right? I was, just in denial. And then, when you get more of a spiritual awakening, you really realize that like this is real, man. Like God is real for real because he has given me so many different signs in just this week alone. And like it's obviously it's been years and stuff now that I've been closer to God, but like I have never been closer to God in my entire life than I have been in these past few months. It's been incredible. Honestly, I feel a lot better. It's like I almost felt like a weight was getting lifted off my shoulders. And yeah, so pretty much like I'm not telling you if you're dealing with a certain situation and stuff, kind of bringing it back to what I was saying. I'm not saying that you have to like believe in God or do this and do that. But I promise you, if you get closer to God, your situation is going to get a lot better. And if you don't want that, then that's okay. Not a lot of people are religious. Not a lot of people want to lean towards that. But, if you're that type of person who doesn't really want to reach towards religion or getting closer to God or things like that, then how you can help yourself is believing in yourself. Believing that you can get through anything that you put yourself through. Or if you're getting forced to go through a situation or you feel forced or you feel like you're cornered, all you got to do is like believe in yourself. And I promise you, your situation is going to get a lot better. Now, I know this is a little easier said than done, but I promise you, if you just have a little bit of faith in yourself, you're going to be okay. Okay. And I used to be that hurt person. I used to be that hurt child, that hurt, you know, I felt like a demon in myself. And basically with that being said is I just felt like I was attacking myself for everything. Therefore the anger arised. I was getting more irritable when I shouldn't have. I wasn't sleeping that well. I wasn't eating that well. I became really, really skinny back in the day. Like things were really, really crazy. And then, when I got older, I started realizing like what life really is. And this kind of brings us to our next topic is, whatever you're going through, yes, it shapes us into the people that we are today, but you have to believe in yourself. And that's what I meant by having faith. If you believe in yourself 110%, you're going to be through it. You're going to get through it. Like you just got to keep pushing. Got to get right back on the horse. The horse is going to knock you off. You got to get back up, or if you skate, you fall, you get back up, try it again. You don't quit. Don't quit. That's all I'm trying to say. Like, I know I'm kind of getting like, getting kind of quiet here just because I'm like really starting to think like really just, just don't quit. Don't give up. And, to kind of bring back like into our next topic is, what I was saying though, is really just, if you're going through a certain situation, right? Let's say you're fighting somebody, okay? Like not physically, but or even it might be physically, who knows? But if you're verbally arguing with somebody, if you have a significant other and it's just not working, or let's say you guys are fighting about bills or you're fighting about kids or whatever the case may be, right? If you're in a situation, okay? If you are in a situation and you just feel so cornered and you feel like you can't do anything, or you feel like, if you have faith in yourself and it's just not working and you just feel tired, right? And you just don't know what to do. This is what you do, okay? Super simple, right? This is an example. Let's say you're fighting with somebody, okay? Picture a bush, okay? Picture a bush in the ground. Obviously, you know, normally, let's say you're trying to remove a bush, okay? You picture this bush. You can't just go over and grab it and rip it out of the ground. You're going to be tugging for hours. What's the first thing that you got to do if you got to, you got to get the plant out? I almost said it already, but I'm going to say it anyway. You got to dig it out. You got to grab the shovel. You got to make the little cut. You got to move the dirt. And then you finally get to the root. Then you got to start breaking the root down. And once you break the root down and it's fully broken, then you can rip it out of the ground. It's easy, right? But it's those few steps before that's the hardest part. You following me? So if you're going through a situation with somebody, right? Let's say, you guys are fighting about bills. Okay, let's just throw that in there. Fuck it. Like you're fighting about bills, and let's say your spouse is yelling at you like, "Why didn't you pay the water bill? We're about to get the water cut off." Blah blah blah. This is just an example. I don't know what you guys are going through, but so and then you're feeling attacked, and you're like, "Shit, I just want to react." Like, what do you mean? Blah blah blah. And you want to like step up to him, but that's feeding the flame. That's basically you trying to go over and rip the bush out. Okay, your significant other's the bush. All right. So now you got to think, okay, why is this bush mad at me? But in other words, you're like, okay, how am I going to rip this bush out? Well, obviously, you need to get a shovel. So the shovel in your situation is, okay, let me understand why we don't have money for the water bill. What did I do? Right? So this is the root. Your hand's the root. Okay. You got 5 problems to that root for you to finally be able to remove the bush. So you take that, right? Okay, this is the root when you start, doing this. So number 1, you got to get the shovel. Okay. So in other words, you got to figure out, okay, why, like, what did I do? Right? Like, what did I do to, not be able to have the money for the water bill? Let's say you went to go to McDonald's and you shouldn't have, or you went to the store and bought some stuff that you shouldn't have, whatever the case may be, right? Okay. Once you figure that out, that's step 1. Okay. Step 2. Now, let's say you got the shovel, you figure that out. Now you got to remove the dirt. Okay. Now you got to start digging. But now in the situation, the dirt now is, you got to, so this is like so crazy. I'm even saying this because it's like, I'm really thinking about this like deeply for real. Like the dirt is now the, like, it's the foundation of the problem. Okay. Why is your spouse so mad at you? Well, obviously it's because you didn't pay the bill, right? But like, that's the dirt. And I know you're kind of like, okay, well, that's kind of the problem. Like, well, yeah, obviously it is, but that's the dirt. So now, like, you're like, okay, well, if he's mad at me, I can't just remove his anger, right? Like, how do I remove his anger? You're probably thinking. Now, this is what you do: pull yourself back from the situation. That doesn't mean like as soon as you figure out, like, okay, this is why I didn't have the money, whatever. Okay, that doesn't mean go in and immediately just start trying to dig, because sometimes, we'll bring it back to the bush. If you have the shovel, sometimes you're trying to dig and that dirt's hard. You can't get through that dirt. Sometimes you got to wet the dirt. There's extra steps that you got to do to be able to wet the dirt. So this extra step that you got to do is walk away from your situation. If he's screaming, cussing, yelling at you, or whatever your spouse is, whatever, walk away. Just walk away. Because if you walk away, 9 times out of 10, that person that's super angry is going to get more mad because you're ignoring them. But they're not going to try to lash out and go and grab you. If that's the case, then obviously you got to go. But in most cases, that's not the case. Walk away. Now, I know that's the hardest part for most people. I mean, that used to be really hard for me to walk away. I used to be like, what the, like, you know what I'm saying? But, now, like, you just walk away. When you walk away, now you're like, let's say you live in the same place as them, right? If you walk away, like, say you're in a small place, leave. Go outside. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to, like, drive away or, go downtown, whatever. Like, just leave the situation. If you go outside, go look at the sky. Go look at the clouds. Go look at, like, the trees, the nature. Nature's good for the soul. Even says that in the Bible, which is in different words, of course. But seriously, nature is good for the soul. And, if you go out, breathe some fresh air, calm down. Don't think about your situation so much, okay? Because you still got three more steps that we haven't even got to yet. But this is that additional step before the 3rd step, is that dirt. So with you walking away, you're like the water. Okay, so say we're digging up the bush. The water is this step. You're the water now. You walked away, okay? And you just figured out the dirt. Because when you go back, you're going to be able to dig that dirt up. And I'm going to tell you how. So basically now, you walked away, you chilled, the situation, became cool. And, sometimes when you come back, that person's still going to be super pissed, right? Like, let's say you go right back and it's just World War III. It's like worse than when you were there. Let's say it was that extreme, right? Sometimes, if that's the case, you got to walk away again till that person calms down fully. But let's just say the walking away doesn't work. You come back and it's just hell, right? Stay calm, cool, and collective, because you just cleared your head. You just went wherever you went to do. That doesn't necessarily mean you got to go outside, but whatever you went to go do to distract your mind from the situation, or tried to, whatever it was, you're level-headed. That person's not level-headed. When you were there originally trying to figure out how to get this bush out, you were super pissed, right? Until you realize, you're like, okay, chill, I got to go get the shovel. Okay, now I got the shovel. Oh shit, okay, well now the situation's crazy still. I gotta go walk away. I gotta go get the hose to water the dirt. Now you're back. You're cool, calm, and collective. Now you can figure out how to assess to get through that dirt, right? So now you can figure out how to get through your problem. So now let's say again, he's getting pissed. And you're just sitting there and you're like, shit, what do I do? This is when you just cool, chill, and try to talk to them. Try. That means, like, let's say now, right? You got the water, you put the water in the dirt's wet, whatever, and you go and you start digging, right? Because normally when you wet dirt, it's easier to get through. It's easy, whatever. You're slowly getting through to the root. So that's what you're doing with your problem. You're slowly trying to get to that root, trying to calm them down and trying to ease the problem, right? Go in there and try to talk. Now, sometimes they'll try to talk over you, cuss at you, whatever the case may be, whatever it is. If they're still super mad and you're trying to talk to them and it's just not working, right? And you finally get through that dirt, now you're at the third step. This is when you got to start breaking the root down. Okay? So this is the third step. Let's say you got the shovel, you got through the dirt, now you're at the third step. And let's say now in your situation, right? You were super pissed off, right? And then, you tried to the dirt, whatever, you following me, and then you're the water, right? And then you came back, you tried to talk to him, it worked, whatever. Or it didn't work. Now this is the fourth step. So let's say you're ripping out a bush, okay? You got through all the, get through the dirt, whatever. You're finally at the root. Now, again, this is what I was saying. You got to break the root down now. So in your problem, he's still cussing and screaming. Walking away didn't work. Talking to him didn't work, right? And he's still mad. At this point, this is when you, as a person, as a being, have to just stay calm in the flame. 9 times out of 10, if you're calm and the other person isn't calm, they'll feed off that energy. Now, some people won't do that, though. Some people are still going to take it to heights. At that point, there's no point to even trying to break the root down. At that point, there's certain things that you got to do. You gotta just leave that person be, right? And I know this is easier said than done, because in some people's cases, let's say you guys have families together. Let's say you have kids, or you have you're in the same house, and you both have joint. Let's say you have joint custody with a kid, or whatever the case may be, right? Whatever it is, and you can't leave, right? Well, that's when you got to walk away again. Stick to yourself. Don't feed the flame. Sometimes, in certain situations that you can't leave, you got to try to find the best thing possible in that situation. I don't know what that sound was. I'm just going to double check that, make sure that shit didn't. Hold on. Okay, we're good. We're good. I just wanted to make sure. Hold on real quick. I got to make sure it's green. Okay, it's green. My bad. I heard something like beep. Maybe it was the chair or something. I thought the video ended. But basically where I was getting at is, sometimes when you're in a situation, you can't even get to that fourth and fifth final step. You just gotta believe in yourself, and this kind of brings back to the first thing that we were talking about. You gotta believe in yourself. You truly gotta understand yourself. Okay, realize that if you get mad, if you react, it's only gonna make your situation worse. Back to the plant. You get the shovel, you get the dirt, or you see the dirt, it's too hard. You put the water on the dirt, you finally start digging, and then you realize that this is hard. This is a big ass bush. I still got to get to the root. Let's say you get to that root and it's just not working. It's tough. There's rocks in the way, whatever. At that point, you got to believe in yourself that you can get through that rock. Okay? You just got to go around the rock, right? In other words, in your situation, you got to kind of go around. Just go around it. And what I mean by that is find things to distract your mind. Go play the game. Go skate. Go walk. Go listen to music. Watch videos. Watch this podcast. Whatever the case may be, right? Just do whatever makes you happy and makes you smile. Okay? Focus on the things that you want to do in life. In other words, remember this saying for life, okay? Focus on the things that you want to do, not on the things that you have to do. Because if you only focus on the things that you have to do, your life's going to be miserable. It took me a long time to realize that, right? So now back to what I was saying. It's been hours, right? Let's say you walked away from this bush again. You're like, man, I got to walk away. I got to assess myself. And you come back. You're like, you know what? I'm finna get to the root of this, right? So this is the fourth one, okay? This next step that you got to do is now you got to get around that rock. You got to start breaking this down so you can get around it. So in your situations, like I said, breaking it down, you finally get to that. Once you figure that out, now you can finally get to that root. And you see the root. Now you just pull the bush out. And in your situation, they chilled, you came to an agreement, and now you smooth sailing. If you both can't agree to disagree, it'll never work. Because most people nowadays, we live on frequency, but most people don't notice that. Most people just kind of see the he and she, or, oh, they look nice, or, oh, they smell good, whatever the case may be. Oh, he's funny, or, oh, she's ugly, whatever the case may be. But basically, in that, what I was trying to get at, though, is, we live on frequency. And when you finally find that person that matters, and that person that is for you, you'll feel it. And let's say you were with a significant person and like that, they were the problem, whatever the case may be, and like kind of bringing it back now is, let's say you felt that at first with that person and it just became rocket towards the end. If you are truly with somebody and the frequency is there, you can overcome any situation that you're in. If a situation is going weeks on or days on and days on and it's not solving, that person's not on their same frequency with you. And that's when it's the hardest part, where you got to walk away, meaning you got to end the situation. Now, again, if you feel stuck and you feel trapped, like you have kids with them, or, let's say you're in the same house with them, or if you don't have a job to make enough money to leave and move, well, at that point, you got to go back to yourself and do what's best for you in your situation. In other words, try to get a job, try to start making money. Realize how much money maybe you have sitting in the bank account. If you got to go get a smaller apartment, something easy to get out of your situation. Go reach out to a friend. Maybe they'll help you. If you don't have any friends that will help you, that's when you got to kind of focus on just you. Don't focus on the bigger shit that's going on, because then you're just going to be yanking at the bush again. You got to just slow down. Keep it smooth sailing, baby. Just keep it pushing. Because at the end of the day, we live our life. Ain't nobody going to live our life for us. We write our picture. Nobody writes our picture for us. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people that are alive and stuff be thinking like, oh man, like God created this, like God's putting us through this and we're doing that. No, we're putting ourselves through it. God created us to self-actualize and write our own story. He's going to guide us, of course, and he's always going to be there for you. If you believe, but he also puts in us that we have faith. You got to learn how to have faith and patience. When you learn patience and faith, you're going to be okay. No matter what you're going through, if you have faith in yourself and patience in yourself and your well-being, you can get through anything in life. In other words, if you are frustrated about ripping a bush out, take those baby steps and you're going to be okay, I promise you. And that's why I feel like I've had a spiritual awakening, because I'm starting to realize things in my life that I've never been able to realize in my entire life. I used to get pissed off at everything. I used to be a really angry guy until I really started realizing, like, I'm breaking things down in life. Life is like a giant bush, for real. If you think about it, and like, I never thought about it like that. And that's why I'm like grateful to be alive. I'm grateful to be in this time, because I'm really starting to understand more and more. Now, I guess kind of the last topic that I would like to talk about, because I don't know how long this video is going to be, but pretty much what I've noticed is I had a group of friends that I would hang out with all the time. Okay. This is kind of like a deeper subject. Hold on. We're going to keep it talking. I just got to make sure that it's recording still. You feel me? All right, cool. So this is something that I really didn't want to talk about in this episode. Excuse me real quick. Oh, I stay hydrated. You know what I'm saying? Um, Basically, I didn't really want to talk about this because this can get mistaken for a lot of things, and I'm not trying to put like names out there or just oh sorrows me and shit like that. But I've just realized the people that I used to hang out with back in the day and pretty recent, we've all drifted apart. And this is like, man, I feel like I'm gonna cry and shit. Damn, that hurt. Um, I'm not trying to like make this a sad story and stuff to end the video, but basically, like we all have drifted apart, and I realize the older we get, those that you thought were gonna be there forever aren't gonna be there as much. That doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna completely disappear, but they're not gonna be there forever. And it's very difficult for me to live like that and live by that because I'm the type of person, I have a giant heart, and I want to, if I meet you, we're going to go to the end of time together. And after that, that's just me personally. You could do me wrong, I'm still going to be there for you. That's just the type of person I am, and I've always been like that, and I'll never change. Just because I have that heart. And I it's it sucks. Okay, I've just noticed different patterns, kind of like the bush that I was talking about. I've just noticed different patterns, and I'm trying to get to the root of it because I really want to know like why things are happening, and I'm starting to slowly understand it all. And I'm not going to get too deep into that part of like what's been going on and things like that because again, I don't want to like just throw information out there, and I would have to use names for it to make sense. But I guess in the faster version of it all is pretty much the I gotta see, I gotta be careful what I say, but pretty much like whatever you're going through in life, again, it kind of brings back to what we were talking about. Just slowly get to that root. Figure out how to get there. Have faith in yourself and have faith in the times, and you're gonna be okay. Um, so I guess kind of yeah, let me bring it back because I feel like that's kind of weird to like just end it there. But basically, where I was getting at though is the group of people that I used to hang out with. Um, I've just noticed that they're drifting apart. Like we're all drifting apart. We're not really talking to each other as much as we once did. And it's just I realize that everybody's living their own life. Everybody has their own things to like deal with, and their own bushes and their own roots and stuff that they got to figure out. But I think just my outlook on it is I feel like when you grow up, just because we get older doesn't mean you should drift away from those who like you care about and the people that you're around, right? Obviously, if you have a significant other and it's not working, you got to better yourself and better your situation and have faith in yourself to make your situation easier to pull the bush out. But in other words, with this, it's like, I've had a lot of time to reflect. I've had a lot of time to be by myself. The new Call of Duty came out. I've played it by myself most of the time, most nights. And I'm normally playing with my boys, playing with the homies and stuff like that. But, this is the part now that's like, we're all kind of just living our own life. And I'm not putting names out there like that and stuff. But I'm sure if you know me personally, you put two and two together. But again, I'm not throwing any names out there. But I've just noticed that it's tough. It's tough for me. And again, I'm not crying for help or like be weird or anything like that. Or I'm very hyped and happy that everybody's figuring out what they want to do in life. I'm very proud of the things that I've heard that some of my friends are doing. It's difficult for me because I'm like, dang, like we grew up together, and why do we have to drift apart? Like we shouldn't have to drift apart. But again, it brings it back to that frequency. And this is the hardest part for me to say, to be honest. But if you're not on the same frequency with people, unfortunately, it might not work out. And that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to stop talking to my friends or push them away, or, that's not what this video is about. I love my friends, but they say it saved me a lot, to be honest. I just kind of feel like we're on a different frequency. We're all just kind of doing things on our own, and that's okay. But I also think that if you maybe are going through a certain situation, like maybe similar to what I'm kind of going through, you don't drift away from those that you care about. Always kind of reach out to them, make sure that they're doing well. And I know that it kind of goes both ways, but I just don't forget about those that you care about. Let's just say that. Okay. If you're kind of say you got a lot of stuff going on in your life and things like that, don't pull away from those that maybe hit you up too much, or, talked about certain problems and things like that. Just reach out to them, make sure they're good. Just be close. Try to be close with with more people is what I was gonna say. So pretty much like it's see, I'm jumbling my words because I'm really trying to figure out how to say this without like putting too much information out there like that. But basically, I guess the longer story of it is just the people that you care about, the people that you love, just reach out to them more. Be closer to them, because again, this life that we live, we don't know what happens after this. We have a belief of what might happen after this, but we don't really know what's happening, and that's the scary part because it's the unknown. But you know, we can't let that define us. We have to be, faithful in ourselves and realize that we can get through this time. And we live life once. I believe that we live twice, or maybe the same life forever. Yeah, it's kind of more like that. But anyway, I'm kind of jumbling my words and stuff, really. But yeah, I guess the bigger thing that I want to say to each and every one of you is, if you have anything that you need to talk about, put it in this comments right here. I'm not saying you gotta, even if you want to, if you want to take the time to type out your story, help each other. This place is for vibes and not just for views and likes and shit. Like, no, this is like a family. I want to be able to have you guys know that this is a safe place that you can come to if you need to talk about life or talk about what you're going through. Just put it in the comments below, and I'll try to reach out to you guys as well. Make more videos like this if you guys like it. I kind of like the little analogy thing that I was saying or whatever, about the bush. I kind of came up with that on the spot. I thought it was really cool to just kind of like, use that as an example, because it really is the truth for real. Like, whatever you're going through, you just got to figure out how to get to that root. And once you get to that root, break the root down and rip that bush out. You're going to be good. I promise. But yeah, so I guess that's pretty much the faster version of it all. I could have got deeper with the last part of this, but again, I don't really want to scratch. I just kind of wanted to scratch the surface with that. If you guys want to know more in depth with that, I can make a whole separate video with that. But yeah, I just hope you guys are having a beautiful day, morning, evening, whenever you're watching this. Share this video with your friends. Share this with everybody, your family members, whoever needs help. Send this video to them. Again, I'm not here for views and likes and things like that, but if you like the video and you share it with people, it reaches more of an audience. I want more of an audience. I want people to be able to, realize that there's so much more to life. And I have so many more things that I can teach you guys that I have learned personally and what I've gone through. There's so many things. Trust me, I actually have an idea for a video already in my mind after I even said this. So at the end of the day, just really just chill, right? Nice little quick recap is you got to just figure out how to rip that bush out. Get to the root. If you got to walk away, be smooth, come back. If it's still too crazy, have faith in yourself and talk it out. If it don't work, walk away. Make sure it's real cool off, come back. And if it's still not cool off, have faith in yourself and change what you need to change. And, most of the time when you come back that third or second time, however many times it takes to walk away, you'll most likely be able to rip the bush out. And if you are on the same frequency with that person, you're going to be okay and you're going to be all right. So I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys tuning in with this episode. I feel interesting. I'm over here like, ooh, like, I'm like, I don't know. I feel like giddy because I'm like, ooh, I hope y'all like, I hope y'all really like feel that message. You know what I'm saying? Because you guys are incredible, truly. Thank you for taking the time to watch this episode. And yeah, we're just going to keep killing it with these videos. I got more episodes happening this week, so you guys stay tuned with that. I'm going to try to be a little more consistent throughout the week. So I'm going to try to at least post 2 episodes a week, maybe 3. If I like, obviously I have time, so we'll figure it out or whatever. I'm going to do more vlogs as well. So if you guys want to see more vlogs and personal stuff, go over to my TGOD vlogs channel. It'll be at the top of the description as well. All my social medias are in there as well. And yeah, just thank you guys for tuning in with today's episode. I love you guys so very much. Keep killing it, and just don't give up. You guys are going to be good. I promise you. So, yes, and ma'am, I don't know how I was going to end this video, but yeah, anyway, I hope you guys enjoy it. I love you guys. I will see you in the next video. In the next adventure was normally what I say on my vlog channel, but I'm gonna see you guys in the next episode. I think I'm just rambling at this point. Okay, I'm sorry. Anyway, I love you guys. Peace.